Welcome to the Bravo Alliance's Errand to Broadway concert. I know it's going to be a spectacular one. And for the Irish people, happy St. Patrick's Day. For the Italians, happy St. Joseph's Day. And all the rest of you, happy whatever. But it's so nice seeing you. And for those of you that do not know me, I see a few new faces here today, which is nice. I'm Joanne Williams. I'm president of the Bravo Alliance. I'm not going to speak long because the program we decided to go straight through rather than have an intermission. Of course, if you need to get up and use the restrooms, it's out the door and towards the right. I'm going to turn the program over now to David Maiulo, our founder, our music director, and Tim is here. Welcome. What are we doing after
Thank you. Thanks for coming, everybody. I'm working here in Glasgow, and I got a decent job. Carrying bricks and mortar, and the pay is 15 bob. I get up in the morning, I wake up with the lark, and as I'm walking down the street, I can hear the girls remark, "Hello, Patsy Fagan," I can hear the girls all cry. "Hello, Patsy Fagan, you're the apple of me eye. You're a decent boy from Ireland that no one can deny. You're a rare-um, scare-um, devil-may-care-um, decent Irish boy. I know there's one among you that would like to marry me. I'll take her to me little home across the Irish Sea. I'll dress her up in satins and please her all I can, and let her people see that I'm a decent Irishman. Hello, Patsy Fagan, I can hear the girls all cry. Hello, Patsy Fagan, you're the apple of me eye. You're a decent boy from Ireland that no one can deny. You're a rare-um, scare-um, devil-may-care-um, decent Irish boy. Decent Irish boy. What are you gonna do with a drunken sailor? What are you gonna do with a drunken sailor? What are you gonna do with a drunken sailor early in the morning? Yea-ho, and up she rises. Yea-ho, and up she rises. Yea-ho, and up she rises early in the morning. Shame on the belly with a rusty razor. Shame on the belly with a rusty razor. Shame on the belly with a rusty razor early in the morning. Yea-ho, and up she rises. Yea-ho, and up she rises. Yea-ho, and up she rises early in the morning. Put him in the cabin with the captain's daughter. Put him in the cabin with the captain's daughter. Put him in the cabin with the captain's daughter early in the morning. Put him in the cabin with the captain's daughter. Put him in the cabin with the captain's daughter. Put him in the cabin with the captain's daughter early in the morning. Yea-ho, 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 early in the morning. Thank you very much. So this is kind of an interesting program. Yesterday was St. Patrick's Day, so in theory we should be moving on St. Patrick's Day, right? No. When is St. Joseph's Day, by the way? Tomorrow. Tomorrow? So we should do some Italian stuff.
Yes.
Okay. Totally planned this wrong. Okay. He would do that, I swear. So this is David Maiulo, my longtime friend. Please give a hello to David. Yesterday was David's birthday. So it takes an Italian guy to get born on St. Patrick's Day, 2 days before St. Joseph's Day, and then to confuse me in front of him. No, David and I have been together almost 40 years. So this is a long-time collaboration, and we absolutely hate each other. Just so you know, cannot stand each other. So this program is a combination of Irish and some Broadway. So the concept was sort of, you know what, I do mostly Irish tenor singing, but I also, my youth was about theatrical singing for the most part before I got into Irish tenor singing. So we're gonna mix it up a little bit, so we're sort of moving on from the Irish to the theatrical as we go through this program. So I'm gonna talk about some of those parts of it as I go. There are no jokes today, nothing fun at all. We're not gonna enjoy this program. I'm just gonna sing for the most part, but I am gonna talk a little bit about context, give you some of the context of the stuff that I'm gonna do today. This next song is, I don't know why we chose to do it at the very beginning, because it's one of my favorite songs. I would normally want to do it more at the end of the program, but Will You Go, Lassie Go is essentially a song that the Scottish and the Irish sort of trade back and forth as a little love anthem kind of a thing. It's one of my favorites. Oh, the summertime is coming, and the trees are sweetly blooming, and the wild mountain thyme grows around the blooming heather. Will you go, lassie, go? And we'll all go down together to pluck wild mountain thyme all around the blooming heather. Will you go, lassie, go? I will build my love a tower in yon pure crystal fountain, and on it I will buy all the flowers of the mountain. Will you go, lassie, go? And we'll all go down together to pluck wild mountain thyme all around the blooming heather. Will you go, lassie, go? If my true love, she were gone, I would surely find another where the wild mountain thyme grows around the blooming heather. Will you go, lassie, go? And we'll all go down together to pluck wild mountain thyme all around the blooming heather. Will you go, lassie, go? Will you go, lassie, go? Thank you. I really do love that song. I've been to Ireland a number of times, and I'm reminded of the hillsides with the purple heather, just the imagery of the song. I really love that one. Now this next one, we're going from the sublime to the ridiculous here, essentially, because to work our way into Broadway, and the theme, the way I'm going to take you through all of this, we're going to go do something Irish, but we're going to go back to Tin Pan Alley days of the early 20th century. So the Irish had some impact on American music of that time. Of course, there was a tremendous amount of Irish immigration had occurred into the country. And so this is also one of my favorite songs, but for totally different reasons. Who Threw the Overalls and Mistress Murphy's Chowder. Mistress Murphy gave a party just about a week ago. Everything was plentiful, the Murphys, they're not slow. They treated us like gentlemen, we tried to act the same. Only for what happened, well, it was an awful shame. When Miss Murphy took the chowder out, she fainted on the spot. She found a pair of overalls in the bottom of the pot. Tim Nolan, he got rippin' mad, his eyes were bulging out. He stood upon the piano and loudly he did shout, "Who threw the overalls in Mistress Murphy's chowder?" Nobody spoke, so we shouted all the louder, "It's an Irish trick, that's true, I can lick the make that through. The overalls in Mistress Murphy's chowder." They took the pants from out the soup and laid them on the floor. Each man swore upon his life he'd never seen them before. They were plastered up with mortar and were worn out at the knees. They'd had their many ups and downs, as we could plainly see. And when Miss Murphy, she came to, she began to cry and pout. She'd had them in the wash that day and forgot to take them out. Tim Nolan, he excused himself for what he said that night. So we put music to the words and sang with all our might. Who threw the overalls in Mistress Murphy's chowder? Nobody spoke, so they shouted all the louder. It's an Irish trick, that's true. I can lick the mick that blew the overalls in Mistress Murphy's chowder. Okay, so now I'm going to explain how we go from Tin Pan Alley music to George M. Cohan and start into some Broadway music. George M. Cohan was born in Providence, Rhode Island, around 1878, I believe, somewhere in that neighborhood, and was an Irish American. He wrote something like 300 songs, 35 Broadway shows, such as they were at the time. But he really made a tremendous impact on the early stages of Broadway theater. And one of the important parts of it that people would not otherwise know about is that I can tell you, Broadway of the time would not be recognizable to us. Musical theater did not really exist in the early 1900s, okay? So most of it was a revue style of thing. So it would be a series of jokes and vaudevillian sort of kinds of things mixed together with some songs. People did shtick. Essentially, they did their shtick, is really what it was. And so if somebody had become famous as a vaudevillian comedian, something like that, they would get put in a show, and they'd build a show around that guy doing whatever that guy did. Or whatever, if a woman was a good singer, they would take the songs that she sang, and they'd build something around that. It wasn't until 1943, with Oklahoma, that what we would recognize today as being a Broadway show happened. And that is to say, that the dancing, the songs, the words of the songs, and the words of the book, the spoken words of the show, all forwarded a plot, all created character, all did all the things that we conceive of as being musical theater today. Little Johnny Jones in 1904 was a show put together by George M. Cohan. And it was the first show that made an attempt to do just that. It was 40 years ahead of its time. And it was a little Irish guy, short guy about like this, named George M. Cohan, who wrote the show. And several of the songs in the show we would still recognize today as being famous songs almost 115 years later. Give my regards to Broadway. Remember me to Herald Square. Tell all the gang at 42nd Street that I will soon be there. Whisper of how I'm yearning to mingle with the old-time throng. Give my regards to old Broadway and say that I'll be there ere long. H-A-R-R-I-G-A-N spells Harrigan. Proud of all the Irish blood that's in me. Devil a man can say a word again me. H-A-R-R-I-G-A-N-U-C. It's a name that no shame ever has been connected with. Harrigan, that's me. You're a grand old flag, you're a high-flying flag, and forever in peace may you wave. You're the emblem of the land I love, the home of the free and the brave. Every heart beats true for the red, white, and blue, and there's never a boast or brag. But should old acquaintance be forgot, keep your eye on that grand old flag. Give my regards to Broadway, remember me to Herald Square. Tell all the gang at 42nd Street that I will soon be there. Whisper of how I'm yearning to mingle with the old-time throng. Give my regards to old Broadway, say that I'll be there ere, I'll be there ere, I'll be there ere long. Thank you. So you get into Broadway a little bit. So George M. Cohan, it was really, it was first of its kind, basically. And again, as I said, it took another 40 years for Rodgers and Hammerstein to do Oklahoma, and for the sense of a Broadway musical as what we would think of it being to come into being. In between those two, there was a little show called Finian's Rainbow. And there's this great song in Finian's Rainbow that is not about the most faithful of men on the face of the earth, but it's a fun song, and I like this song. So we're going to do this song even though it's not about the best guy on the face of the world. That's all you want to do? Okay, well fine, I'll do that then. Oh, my heart is beating wildly, and it's all because you're near. When I'm not near the girl I love the girl I'm near. Every femme that flutters by me is a flame that must be fanned. When I can't fondle the hand that I'm fond of, I fondle the hand at hand. My heart's in a pickle, it's constantly fickle, and not so particle, I fear. When I'm not near the girl I love the girl I'm near. I'm confessing a confession, and I hope I'm not the false. When I'm not close to the one that I cling to the one that's close. As I'm more and more a mortal, I am more and more a case. When I'm not facing the face that I fancy the face I face. For Sharon I'm caring, but Susan I'm choosing. I'm faithful to whosin is near. When I'm not near the girl I love the girl I'm near. I thought there was more at the beginning. I don't know why. I was expecting something more than that.
I'm getting paid by the note.
Oh. Wait, I would think you would play more then. It's like Charles Dickens. Charles Dickens was paid by the page, you know? That's why you got 500-page songs. Okay. I'm going to go back to some Irish stuff now. Okay, so no more fun for a little while. Well, okay, so that we get a little bit of fun before the non-fun. Irish guy sitting in a pub. And the Irish have cell phones now. So he's texting back and forth with his wife. And his wife says, "When will you be home?" And he says, "I'll be home in 5 minutes." And she says, "Are you sure you're going to be at home in 5 minutes?" And he says, "Well, I think so. But if I'm not home in 20, just reread the last text."
That's good.
That went over better than I expected. Okay. My father-in-law gives me these, so he feeds me jokes for my performances. Luke, I need more material, please. So it's no secret, I imagine, that the Irish have a troubled history with the English, and these next three songs are really about that. They're about the troubles. So there was a time in Ireland, going from roughly 1630 or so, Oliver Cromwell, to about 1922, where all of Ireland was under English political rule. And there were some times of that were particularly bad. So at various points, the Irish were not allowed to say the word Ireland. They could not hold mass if they were Catholic. Women would keep their rosaries in their hands and slip them up their sleeve so that they wouldn't be seen, so that they could still practice their faith. So it was, they call it the Troubles, and for good reason. So these next three songs are about that. The Irish came up with metaphorical ways of referring to Ireland or to the country, the concept of it. And one of them was Ireland as a mother having 4 sons, 4 provinces. And that's where 4 Green Fields comes from. What did I have? Said the fine old woman. What did I have? This fine old woman did say I had 4 green fields. Each one was a jewel, but strangers came and tried to take them from me. I had 5 strong sons. They fought to save my jewel. They fought and they died. And that was my grief, said she. Said the fine old woman, long time ago. This fine old woman did say there was war and death, plundering and pillage. My children starved from mountain, valley, and sea, and their wailing cries, it reached the very heavens, and my 4 green fields ran red with their blood, said she. What have I now? Said the fine old woman. What have I now? This fine old woman did say I have 4 green fields. One of them's in bondage, in strangers' hands that tried to take them from me. But my sons have sons as brave as were their fathers, and my 4 green fields shall bloom once again, said she, and my 4 green fields shall bloom once again, said she. I said it was sad.